You may be wondering what will happen here, why you are here, and why others aren't. Let's take a look at ourselves, our origins, our prejudices, our power. The world keeps turning. But how do we protect our world? How do we secure our comfort zone? You too may be part of the problem. We're inviting you today to reflect on your own patterns and become part of the solution.
So, how can we and are we part of the solution? This is what this night will be about. A very warm welcome to the very first Respond demo night. Also, a very warm welcome to our guests at Doppelkegel BMW World in Munich and everybody who's joining us virtually. My name is Bianca Pretorius, and I have the joy, but also the honor, to guide you through the next 1.5 hours of program. We're gonna hear 10 incredible stories of visionary entrepreneurs presenting their impact-driven companies that address both profit, but also purpose. If you want to get in touch with them, on the website of Respond, you can book slots to talk to the entrepreneurs on Friday morning. So stay with us and book your slots for tomorrow. We have today 10 startups, 3 speakers, Fridtjof Detzner, James Arbib, and Amit Pradhan, and we will look at the bigger picture of solutions that build our responsible future. Stay with us until 6 p.m. It's worth it, we promise. But before we start with the program and all the pitches and the conversations, I want to welcome 2 very special human beings who put the vision of Respond into reality in the first place. So I invite you to welcome with me on stage the Chief Executive of Respond at the BMW Foundation, Dr. Hawa Agib, as well as Chief Operations Officer of Respond from Unternehmertum, Miki Yokoyama. Miki, Hawa, please join me on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to welcome you to something real special tonight.
The first ever cohort of Respond.
What brings us together today is our belief in the role of technology and innovation, the power of entrepreneurship, the importance of responsibility and responsible, sustainable business, or all of the above to tackle global challenges. In this dynamic world, it is so important and necessary to reinvent and constantly rethink ourselves and our institutions. In 2016, the BMW Foundation reinvented itself and chose the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN Agenda 2030 as a plan to contribute to a more just and sustainable future. 1 year ago, like this year, we launched Respond with a conviction and the belief that innovative business models can contribute to a more balanced society, economy, and our planet. So here we are today. To quote the very inspiring President Obama, there is no lack of solutions. There is a need to empower leaders to tackle these solutions. And I would add that capital is not the limiting factor. Responsible leadership is a mindset that helps us and empowers us to contribute to the positive change we all want to see. It is not a choice. This leadership is where we put our intention and attention. And we are here because what you do matters, what we do matters, and how we all respond makes a difference.
So the BMW Foundation and Unternehmertum decided to respond together. With the combined strengths of our two organizations and the joint global networks, we want to inspire, we want to support and empower leaders. I think in these times, more important than ever. And I think with the first cohort of Respond, we found 10 amazing, brilliant, courageous, and bold startups where each and everyone is contributing an important puzzle piece in how we all should respond to today's challenges. In the past months, we have worked intensively with these 10 teams to help them and prepare them in scaling their businesses, but also to connect them with the tech and impact world through our global networks of mentors, VC, and network partners. But for us, Respond is also more than that. I think it's a journey and a platform where everyone gets a chance to respond and to grow, and a journey where we help you to ensure that positive impact is embedded in the core of your business for the long term. All of this is not possible with a great team, so we would like to take the chance to say a big thank you to the Respond team who made this possible. So thank you, Bennett, thank you, Henrike, Thomas, Maurizio, Andreas, and Selina.
Thank you so much. Both internally, our team, the 10 Respond Ventures, our coaches, mentors, and network partners are committed to rethinking impact and sustainability in business. We celebrate today bringing together inspired entrepreneurs, investors, opinion leaders, and stakeholders. We celebrate a year of Respond because it's not a choice anymore. It is an imperative, a necessity to implement impact in the core of our businesses. You will hear today about solutions that contribute to resource efficiency, waste management, to inclusive mobility, and sustainable cities, all for impact and for profit.
And we're very proud that we could already witness and celebrate some milestones with the teams in the past month, or months. So KRAFTBLOCK announced another funding round of 3 million just recently. Hawa Dawa got awarded the Digital Startup of the Year award. Alison from Made of Air won the Golden Pretzel Award at Bits and Pretzels. And just recently, or 2 weeks ago, Jacob from BOSAQ closed a multi-million contract.
We enjoyed getting to know you, working with you, laughing with you. We're looking forward to following on your journeys beyond 2020, beyond Respond. If this is what we could do in 2020, which was a very difficult year, imagine how much power we have to accelerate responsible leadership in 2021.
With that, we'll leave the stage to the entrepreneurs and speakers. But first, let's watch a quick video of what the journey was like in the past months. Thank you very much, and enjoy the demo night.
Thank you.
We all know the world has very big pressing problems which are really tricky to solve.
Social injustice problems, the climate crisis, so many more things that we really need urgent solutions for.
We all need to create much more positive impact on this planet.
That's why you need entrepreneurs who really have the energy to work on and solve big problems.
The Respond Accelerator program is a program by the BMW Foundation and operated by Unternehmertum. We focus on the UN 2030 agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals.
It's a training platform. Corporate organizations and startup organizations meet.
We're keen to develop startups to become grown and mature businesses that achieve impact and that make this place a better place for all of us.
We create an environment where the startups can learn how to bring their leadership skills to the next level, but also develop their solutions and be profitable. Combining leadership and tech and sustainability all hand in hand is unique and is extremely needed.
By supporting companies like ours, they're enabling the next generation of entrepreneurs who are going to shape a more sustainable, more responsible future.
Impact-driven startups themselves, they face challenges. Whether it's about funding, whether it's about finding the right markets, whether it's about really creating an impact, and that's why we're here to help them to get to the next level.
We offer our startups not only the great input, but also use the chance to connect with nature, actually.
The startups receive individualized coachings. We have evening events, sessions where they can meet founders, venture capitalists, other investors, potential clients, and also a strong focus on responsible leadership.
Modern-day leaders show vulnerability. They show that they don't have answers for everything. They empower their teams to find solutions.
Mostly we get asked how to attract the right people for our company and how to build up a sustainable culture.
There's been so much that has happened. We met experts in human resources, sales, pitching, tax, IP, anything you can think of. And all of them have followed us from the first time we met up until now.
So they know what you've been through. It's not just the consultants, it's actually people who has lived that. So for us, it's extremely powerful to hear from someone that has overcome a problem that we're having right now.
As a VC, it's the core job to invest in people and ideas and companies that have a fair chance to disrupt and transform large markets.
It really focuses on impact as a company together with the economic value creation you have to do as a company. So that's really the unique thing about Respond for me.
You will know exactly what company you are and what future your company is going to have. The focus is not just on growing the financial gains of the company, it's really about the soul and the spirit behind it. And for us, that's just been a great achievement.
Because of the pandemic and the flight restrictions, I joined the Respond Accelerator classes via Zoom, Whereby, and even WhatsApp.
We care about sustainable technologies and innovations. We care about sustainable business models. We care about responsible leadership. And we care about you.
Now you have a small idea how it feels like to be part of the Respond journey. So all of the companies that you're going to see now are tackling big structural problems and providing real-world solutions. The very first company we're going to see presenting is tackling a topic that we hear a lot about in the last years. It's CO2. They managed to find a way to get CO2 out of the air and turn it into something that we actually all need. So hear more for our first company, and I would invite Made of Air to the stage, Alison Dring. Big applause.
Take a second and look around you. I want you to think about the chair you're sitting in right now. It's probably made of a material that you don't know very much about. Manufactured goods rely on fossil resources and have very high CO2 emissions. In fact, right now our global emissions, 27% of them are accounted for by materials. And with our population increase and the growing material demands from that, by 2060, these emissions will double. Durable plastics, as opposed to disposable plastics, don't have biodegradable solutions. Manufacturers rely on fossil resources to make these products. So it's clear that manufacturing needs to cut the cord to fossil resources. But if we have this huge material demand coming, where are the materials going to come from? So let's look at this differently. We are facing one of our biggest existential challenges right now. And that challenge is that we have too much carbon in the atmosphere. So if you think about it, climate change is actually a material problem. So what if we could take our biggest existential challenge and turn it into our biggest resource? Made of Air is producing a thermoplastic that's durable, it's renewable, and it enables carbon to be stored in products. And this is a carbon-negative material. And that means we're taking more CO2 out of the air than we emit in making it. It's a carbon-storing thermoplastic, which means that any product you make from it is going to become an engineered carbon sink, and it's drop-in ready as an industrial alternative to fossil plastics. So bear with me because I want to share with you why this is such a radical idea. My co-founder and I have been in the building products industry for a long time. And our first product was a facade panel, and it was made of plastic. And we found out that recycled plastics don't work in the built environment. And that the product we wanted to make, we couldn't make without harming the planet. We also found out that there's an enormous amount of materials going into buildings relatively unchecked. So let's take this further. Imagine that all of that material could be carbon neutral. And now imagine that all of that material could actually reverse climate change just by being made. I firmly believe that we have to do better than carbon neutral. We need carbon negative materials. So how do you make a carbon negative material? Well, we start with wood waste, and that's absorbed CO2 in its lifetime. But normally what happens is as the plant starts to decay, the CO2 goes back into the atmosphere. And what we're doing is creating biochar, which locks the CO2 in carbon and becomes a char-like material. We then refine that char through a series of processes, and we get a thermoplastic granule that's ready for use. The impact is direct. We have 1 ton of material made, we take 2 tons of CO2 out of the air. This isn't an offset, this is actual climate change reversal. We're working with 3 products in 3 industries. We're working in furniture, automotive, and the built environment. That chair that you're sitting on, what if that was IKEA's carbon negative chair? What about the dashboard in your car? The seats in the football stadium? Or your sunglasses? We sell in 2 ways. We're selling the material in granules by the ton. We sell to manufacturers of consumer brands. And we sell formed products with partners. We have 3 active pilots. We're engaged with 7 different consumer brands, including Audi. And we're setting up for our first factory at an annual capacity of 2,000 tons. Our team is a team of 10. We sit in Berlin. And we have a combined skill set of material and chemical science, all the way to policy making. I believe the future of materials is carbon negative. And we are excited about raising our first round. We're doing a seed round right now. We're looking for investors. If you are an investor that's not afraid of hardware and is ready to take on systemic change, please get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. This is so inspiring. I have one question. What do you think is the most promising use case that could replace traditional materials that create this systemic change? Is it furniture? Is it facades, products?
Well, I think it's interesting. We're working with lots of industries. So as a material, we get that advantage. It's also a bit stressful. So I would say the data really points to the built environment. The volume of plastics in the built environment is something that we're going to need to systemically tackle. But I would also say that the way that the built environment operates is very different. It has very few decision makers, and it doesn't rely on consumer pressure. So for that, we tend to look at the furniture industry, the furnishings, consumer goods, because people make decisions about the climate personally and individually. And so we're starting there, but we're taking all of it on.
Thank you so much, Alison.
Thank you.
This is made of air. So we stay with the topic of turning something harmful into something useful. So when you hear the word ocean plastic, you know the ocean doesn't need the plastic. So our next company teamed up with an army of fishermen to take out this plastic and transform it into something that we all need. Please give a warm applause for Benjamin Mondes from GotBag.
Can you imagine that that bag was garbage littering our oceans just 2 months ago? GotBag has designed and brought to market the world's first backpack made from recycled ocean plastic. But we are much more than just a backpack brand. We are a movement cleaning our oceans. When I was 3 years old, my father would take me sailing for the first time. I'm bound to the oceans ever since. Through sailing, I became aware of the most environmental catastrophe that humankind has ever seen: plastic pollution. New studies suggest that every year, 20 million tons of plastic end up in our oceans. But why is the ocean so important for us? 230,000 species live in our oceans. And by now, 90% of seabirds have plastic inside their stomachs already. But the ocean is not only important for them, it's also for us. Did you know that 70% of the oxygen we all breathe is produced by the oceans? Not on land, by forests and trees. Because of that, my co-founder Roman and I decided to do something about this increasing problem and started GotBag. But what is GotBag doing today? We have organized the cleanup of 1,500 fishermen in Java, Indonesia. When these fishermen go out fishing, they have plastic inside their nets. And instead of throwing it back into the ocean, they bring it ashore, where we can recycle it. This way, we have already recovered 105 tons of plastic last year. And we're going to recover 300 tons of plastic this year. On land, we have a real holistic approach. We take care of all of the garbage we get from the ocean. But the PET part, which you can see here, is then cleaned, shredded into flakes, melted into pellets. And these pellets are the raw materials for the yarn, which we use for the fabric for the production of our backpacks. The product itself is then made from 100% ocean plastic, the fabric. For each bag, the roll-top bag, we can recover 3.5 kilograms from our oceans, and it's 100% waterproof due to BOPO coating, which we apply to the fabric. Our product line has expanded to 12 products by now. Starting with the roll-top, we have now also bigger products like the weekender, card holders, and wallets. We don't want these products to end up in our oceans ever again. That's why we invented the GotBag cycle. You, as a customer, can get incentivized to send the product back when it's used up. And we will recycle it or repair it. This way, we will also enhance the customer lifetime value. A lot has happened since we started selling the bags in 2018. As I said, we established our cleanup. Already recovered 105 tons of plastic from the oceans. But we had also collaborations with Sea Shepherd and Coral Gardeners to join forces to do something for our oceans. We have been covered in a wide range of media outlets like Vogue magazine, ARD, and FAZ. But most importantly, We are already represented in 150 stores across the DACH region and have acquired 40,000 like-minded customers wearing our bags every day and sharing our journey. And we have 60,000 followers on Instagram. Our team is now 35 people in Mainz, highly motivated, driving the business forward. We're going to go to the US market and Europe market pretty soon and get our business going there. As I said, GotBag is a movement of like-minded people changing our planet in this moment. And if you want to contribute, I'm happy to connect. Thank you very much. Let's create an impact.
Thank you, Benjamin. With GotBag, you really started a great initiative. Can you tell us about your vision for the next 5 or let's say 10 years?
Yeah, where we see actually our biggest impact is the network of fishermen, and they are a huge multiplier in their area. So whenever they go to their villagers, to their families, and they tell about the problem of plastic pollution, all of them get aware about this problem. And that's then when from ground up change is happening, and then the governments get pressured and they need to take care of the waste management system. So we definitely want to expand our cleanup activities, and we want to clean up our, to scale our cleanups, and we want to go to other regions as well.
Sweet. Thank you so much. This is GotBag.
Thank you.
So we're going to shift the corner we're in and go into the energy topic. So energy is something we all need. The question is how to harvest and then to store it. The next company we're going to see managed to find a way to store heat in very, very small places. Please give a big applause for Martin Schichtel from KRAFTBLOCK.
Actually, I really love this song. I mean, there's so much truth in it. This song has been written approximately 40 years ago, and already at that time, scientists knew that there would be climate change today if nothing happens. So, nothing happens. And here it is, our climate change, our global warming, our personal dilemma. Exactly like the lyrics in the song. Some things in life are bad, they really make you mad. But we have KRAFTBLOCK. We want to create the bright side of life. We want to create the bright side of energy, which means our high-performance energy storage is able to decarbonize industry like steel, glass, ceramics industry, petrochemical industry, and even help renewables to have their breakthrough in sustainable heating for industries. Our system acts a little bit like a safe for energy, which means we take energy on one hand, excess energy, waste energy, put it warm and safe into our storage, and release it on the other hand whenever it's needed again. Very simple process, but very effective, because we reduce the amounts of fossil fuels dramatically, which also means we avoid carbon dioxide releases, and we increase the economic value of formerly lost and wasted heat. Where can we find those energies today? This is an impressive example, and I do not mean the two guys, I mean the flame over there. This flame actually is not that small as the one in my hand. With this one, I can make a cup of tea or make a cup of coffee. With this flame, I produce 3.2 million cups of coffee in the same time. And so it's only one. You get a small glimpse on how many energy is just wasted and blown into the air. We have to recover this energy. We have to make it usable again. If you only would recover 1/3 of this energy, we could save 3% of the carbon dioxide releases worldwide, and even 30 billion euro of money each year by saving primary energies. Of course, this is a highly interesting market, and there are a couple of competitors moving in. One of them we mostly meet in Europe is EnergyNest. EnergyNest, Norwegian company, building heat storages made of concrete blocks. Very good. They have a temperature level of 500 degrees C, but you might imagine it's fairly not enough to recover energy from steel or ceramic industry. Here you need 1,300 degrees C, and that's what we actually did. EnergyNest stores approximately 1.5 megawatt hour of capacity in a storage container. We do it at 15 or 16 megawatts, so only 10 times more than the EnergyNest guys do. Having those advantages and a couple of more, we are already able to sell free pilots to those industries which have to be decarbonized fast. fastest: steel, glass, and ceramics industry. Furthermore, we released our first heat-to-go project in such container like this. Heat-to-go means you recover waste heat in one place, transfer it by truck to another place, and release it there at carbon dioxide-free heat for very affordable prices. We also have a couple of more projects in our pipeline. Close to signature, we have 3 projects, nearly 2.4 million of revenues, and even 220 in our heat pipeline, so it's very well filled. Of course, my co-founder Susanne and me, we can't do this work by our own. So we need a really strong and outstanding team of young engineers and scientists that you can see over here. And we all follow the same mission. We all believe that in a sustainable energy system, energy storages will be essential. And that's what we work and what we live for. But having this A-team for trouble solutions, having this troubleshooter solution itself, that's fairly not enough. We also need you as partners and customers, because only if the system is applied, we can have this impact. We also need you as an investor, because only if we are able to scale worldwide, we can also have the same impact and bring the technology further. And we need you and your network, because only if everybody gets to know about this amazing system, about the possibilities and solutions we can create. I'm Martin, founder and CEO of KRAFTBLOCK, and with our outstanding team, our technology, and together with you, we will create the bright side of life. We will create the bright side of energy. Thank you very much.
Martin, fantastic. I've heard you just secured a proper finance round, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
We're wondering, what are the next milestones for KRAFTBLOCK?
Yeah. Definitely, we raised a really good round. And with this money, obviously, we extend our production, we extend our engineering teams, because for all the projects which are coming, we have to find solutions and we have to introduce it to the market. And we will prepare also the internationalization phase, starting probably at the end of next year.
Okay, thank you so much. This is KRAFTBLOCK. So we go from energy to air pollution. Air pollution is something that is measured for decades, but often it's very expensive, and so there's space for disruption here. The next company works with sophisticated sensor and satellites, and yes, AI, to measure and also tackle air pollution. So please give your hand to Karim Taraf from Hawa Dawa.
Close your eyes, also those joining online, and let's take 2 deep breaths. We take 6 million breaths every single year. So it's hard to fathom that 1 in 8 global premature death occurs because of the air we breathe. And it does not only affect our health, but it also affects our economy and our climate. The EU loses 10% of its annual GDP due to air pollution. And tropospheric ozone or black carbon are also climate pollutants, so they cause up to 45% of the climate crisis. So solving these challenges might appear as a frustratingly difficult task. And it is the way it is because of the way we deal with air quality data. When it comes to air quality, we think in binaries. The air quality in my city is bad or good. Ban all cars or let them drive the way they are. If your city has a NO2 concentration of 40.1 micrograms, you're in trouble. But 39.9, you're still OK. This, in the era of data, is unacceptable. And it makes us lose a lot of chances in turning the opportunities, turning the challenges into opportunities, and costs our economies millions. So how Dawa combines the state-of-the-art satellite technologies with AI-enabled sensors as well as software to provide an end-to-end solution for air quality management. So we create data, analyze and interpret the data, and then implement it in our city with a network of partners, ranging from navigation system, traffic management, to health and research. Let me show you an example of one of our customers. So this is a city of Mainz using the old technologies. The gray pins you see are the official measuring stations that have been used for decades. And this is how it looks with Hawa Dawa.
our platform harmonizes thousands of different data sources, from climate, weather, to traffic and air quality, and including also satellite imagery. So we fill the entire city, providing a comprehensive database. And with this database, we can answer the question is, why am I measuring what I'm measuring? Where is it coming from? And how can I implement traffic management or other ways of solving the problem with the highest efficiency possible? So getting the highest ecological impact for every euro invested. And not only that, with the same platform, we're able to protect the most vulnerable of our population. Studies have shown that asthmatics and COPD patients can save up to 50% of their healthcare expenditure if they know when and where air pollution is bad, so they can avoid the triggers. And Dawa can provide you this information on a global scale, telling you for every weekday and every hour which exposure you're getting to get. So really narrowing it down. So it's not just about developing a world-leading technology, but also establishing the benchmark and good practices and how can I take this technology into the mainstream of decision. How can I connect air quality with my car, with my asthma management app, and so forth. The team has a very broad range of expertise, from epidemiology to traffic research, from climate change and ecoclimatology to hardware and sensor development. And also coming from 11 nations united to fight these global challenges. And I'm here for two asks. One is for the investors in the room, and another one for the connectors in the room. For the investors, we're currently raising our Series A with 50% already committed in a first closing. So we're looking with investors willing to take on the topic of air quality and clean tech in their portfolio, and do not shy in establishing new standards. So how can I apply this new technology in the future world, and how can our world be interconnected? And the second is we have more than 100 countries without a single air quality monitor, and we want to make our technology accessible. So we're looking for partners that help us scale, and we already have 2 of the largest cities on the table willing to work with us with the local buy-in. So feel free to approach us. And together we can make our vision a reality to integrate air quality data and data-driven insights into the mainstream of decision-making, from how we manage our traffic, manage our cities, plan our health and activities, and also protect our climate. Thank you very much.
Wow, Karim, thank you. I have a question. How can this solution be scaled into other countries, and what are the differences in industrial countries or also developing countries for that?
It's actually, in that case, reversed, because a lot of the air quality monitoring has been done in industrial countries. It's very CapEx heavy, so we invest a lot in the hardware. And we're turning something that we actually learned from the energy field in the developing countries, which is basically an OpEx model. How can I turn air quality monitoring as a service? How can I provide insights from air quality as a service? So actually, the business model reversed, and it is able to look at it not just as a climate problem, but an infrastructure project. So actually, a lot of the projects become cash flow positive from day one once they're implemented.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hawa, Dawa, please give your hand. If you're a human being, then losing a limb of your body is probably one of the biggest negative impacts you can have in your life. To have prosthetics, that is usually taking a very long time, is very exclusive and expensive. The next company you're going to see is here to change that. Please give a big applause for Lucas Paes de Melo from Amparo.
Hi. Let me take you through a journey that 1 in every 500 people in the world experience. Imagine you're in a hospital bed, you just left the surgery room. You look down and you see only one leg. Well, heart problems and diabetes have caused you an amputation, but could have been a car crash or a landmine. And there's one question that's screaming in your head. Am I gonna walk again? For that, you need a prosthesis. And you wait 3 months for your brand new leg. And in the first year, you need 3 legs. And why? Because your stump changes, it shrinks. So it's going to be a long year. And the longer you wait, the harder is your recovery. And that's when depression may take over. But why the heck does it take so long? It's because each leg is handmade. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of visits to get a leg. A prosthetic leg has three main parts. The foot and the tube, they're standard. The socket is unique. In a prosthetic clinic, they make a copy of your stump to create your socket. This takes at least 2 visits. And in countries like Germany, you get your leg in 2 weeks. In the UK, 3 months. In Brazil, 1 year. And in Kenya, you don't want to know. But now, with Amparo, you can get your leg at your home in 1 visit, in 1 hour. That's the confidence socket. Our special material is molded directly to your residual limb. And if your stump changes, doesn't matter. The material can be reshaped to any stump changes. And all the tools fit into this bag. So now you can get your leg at your home, at the hospital, anywhere in the world. Our business model is simple. We sell sockets and tools to clinics who make legs to amputees. And although it may cost a little bit more in the beginning, it can be reshaped 10 times, saving huge costs in the end. But don't just take my word on it. You can ask one of the 1,300 people that are walking on confidence sockets. We're present in 30 countries, 16 of those with exclusive distributors and sales targets contracts for the next 3 years. KRAFTBLOCK is the main player in the industry and our biggest partner. Not only they're distributing our product across the globe, they have also adopted our technology as their main patient care service for recent amputees in their rehab centers. So, despite the pandemic, actually, we outperformed last year. We're going to hit the mark of €500,000 in 2020. Just to recap, Amparo is disrupting the prosthetics industry because it's fast, it's effective, and it's a mobile clinic. When I met Eric in South Africa, he told me, and I quote, "I want to work with my arms, not to walk with crutches. It's too difficult to work with these." And just like him, there are at least 9 million people who don't have modern prosthetics. So at Amparo, we're creating access to equality. Each leg brings the confidence for a fresh start. And for that, we're raising €4 million to build our own high-tech R&D facility, to automate our production so we can decentralize it, and also to build distribution hubs to better and faster serve our customers. I'm Lucas, the CEO and co-founder of Amparo, but I'm just the face of a team who's an expert in what we do, and we're also passionate about social impact. So join me. Join the revolution by providing mobility so that every single amputee can live life to the full. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucas. It's really good to see how you create impact for so many people in need. I have a question that probably many people have. How can partners help and join you on that journey of Amparo?
So, disability is usually invisible in society. We don't want to look at them. They show our imperfections. They show that we're not fast enough, not productive enough. So it is extremely important to motivate higher levels of government, higher levels of corporations and international organizations to bring awareness to the topic and not see them as invisible or pretend they're invisible, but instead look at their uniqueness and learn from them, from their insights, so it can be a more inclusive society. That's it.
Wow. Thank you. Give an applause for Amparo.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that was already our first 5 pitches. And we'll stay and go to the bigger picture of responsibility. So we have a first keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker started with building websites. He's the founder of Jimdo. He also then founded Wild Plastic and then Planet A. His talk was about how can an entrepreneur go from an entrepreneur to waking up to the entrepreneurial responsibility to help people as well as planet. Please join me in welcoming our first keynote speaker, Fridtjof Detzner.
Wow, it's incredible to see all the startups. It reminds me of being back at that time, and to give you some perspective on it, it's actually started here. So it's quite a while back. And to be precise, the next photo is our first press photo, and that is 21 years old. And that sounds pretty old to me right now. So we were 16 at that time, and starting a company actually is not allowed in Germany if you're 16. But we were lucky, these two bastards, that our parents volunteered, and they made us able to do this. And the journey started for me, and get from here, doing websites for other people with 16 on a bike and a train to get to appointments, all the way to a bigger company. I don't want to talk too much about Jimdo, but that's what I did for 18 years. And we created a company which enabled everyone to create a website. Now it's over 30 million websites created, over 200 jobs created. And super happy that I was able to kind of build this company together with my co-founders, Matthias and Christian. And as I said, I had a wake-up call, and my wake-up call came in the form of a TV project. So I was asked, after 18 years of building Jimdo, if I would go on a journey. And the idea was quite appealing to me, actually. After 18 years of doing one thing and living in a box and just focusing all about this, I had the chance to go on a journey. And the idea was that a German entrepreneur is traveling the world and is meeting other entrepreneurs throughout the world, actually in 10 countries. And we thought about how can we make it more interesting. I worked together with 5 journalists from DW, Deutsche Welle, and we thought about, okay, let's take 10 out of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, take them as shells for each episode. And in the first place, it sounded like super fun, right? This is Mongolia, you see new places, you ride on 2 little horses, and you're meeting awesome entrepreneurs. And that's something I really feel familiar. Like if I see you pitching your ideas, how committed you are, and how, like what you're building, it's just awesome. It's super cool to come together and seeing this. And that was exactly also the case for me on this journey. And you see places which I never kind of dreamed to be in. This is kind of the space agency in India, and I was talking to the CEO there. Super inspiring, seeing a moon rover, touching it all firsthand and making up your mind, learning a lot. And then, I don't know, this was in the center of the jungle in Malaysia, and I was together with an NGO, was setting up solar panels for the people living there, and talking to entrepreneurs throughout the world. I mean, that's great, and I think everybody who started a company can agree to this. But I'm not here so much to talk about that. Actually, it taught me something else. And in order to showcase the solutions of the founders, we also had to show the problems. And that was much more of a bigger challenge for me personally than meeting the founders. So this is, for example, Hong Kong, and as we all know, the prices of housing in Hong Kong is really, really high, and that's forcing a lot of people to live in these subdivided homes. That's another example. I was able to kind of be with this kid in Dhaka, Bangladesh, for 3 days and witness his day-to-day job. And it really it's changing your perspective if you're exposed to that. I mean, you all know this, we all know that, but being there, talking to all the people, it's something else. And it's great to see GotBag, the approach, right? So that is Central India. We did one episode about plastic pollution. I mean, that's just a normal street there. And you see these holy cows going on there, and the next picture, that's a landfill. And you see how high it is. It's way higher than all the skyscrapers up there. And yeah, I don't know, I just was forced in all these situations and was really prepared for it, and I was super thankful that it was given the chance to do this. And that was probably my low point on this whole journey. That's Central India. It's also called the suicide belt. And it's called that for a reason, because you can draw the correlation between the suicide rate of farmers in that region and the changed weather data. And you're suddenly talking to a person who was trying to commit suicide because of a phenomenon he didn't really quite understood himself. And if you take one step back and you look at the whole picture, it's obvious. We're talking about this all the time. We're consuming more than we have. Like, we've built an economy which is using 1.7 amounts of the Earth, and spoiler ahead, we don't have a second one. And yes, it's super cool. We see initiatives, we see the UN Sustainable Goals, we see more and more people bringing attention to the topic, but we aren't fast enough. And the goal is obvious. We have to establish an economy which is within the boundaries of the planet, right? And you're all focused on this, you're doing this, and it's super, super cool to see these examples. And I've met one person here, Satya, who has built, I think, also a really good startup idea. He's building greenhouses for the people in this suicide belt. And they're not too expensive. They lower the temperature by 5 or 6 degrees. They're saving water. And for the people there, that's suddenly an alternative. And I've talked to the farmer there, and he says, hey, actually, this is what earns the bread for my family. Around on the field, on the crop, if there's something on top, super. And obviously, when I came back, I had a hard time to adjust. There was a lot to take in. And honestly, I think entrepreneurship is a brilliant tool. But it really made me think, what are the problems we should focus on? And I think, I can't say that often enough, but you guys, you're taking on this huge risk to build companies, and we all know the likelihood of succeeding with a company, but you still do it. And I think you, for yourself, you're doing this not for the reason of kind of maximizing your financial return on invest. You're doing this because you see your company as a tool to change something for the better for the people and the planet. And I can't credit this enough that you're doing this. And I've met so many people on this journey which don't have this choice. And I think we as privileged people, we really have a choice what to do, where to focus on, and what we want to start. And we know the fact that us, the richest 10%, created 50% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So I think it's really upon us to show leadership, to react responsible to what we see, and do it. And I think that in itself is a great example heading in this direction. So I asked myself, after building Gymnu and have done this journey, was definitely have given me a new purpose. How can I accelerate? What can I do? Because I do have everything. I have every paraglider, I have every surfboard I've ever dreamed of. So how can I contribute? What can I do? And actually, I think what you guys are doing here is exactly the right stuff, and I think I can be helpful here. So this is why we're starting right now Planet A. It's an early venture fund just for impact businesses, and we're using scientific methods to evaluate how big the impact is. And we always compare today's world to the potential of a startup idea, so we have a delta, and if it's significantly enough, then we do invest. That's the first one. The second one is the Planet A network. Super, super happy that I'm able to convince a lot of serial entrepreneurs to give their network, to give their skills, to help these portfolio companies. That makes me super happy. And the third one, obviously, is the money. So we're raising 100 million to support 25 to 30 startups with this scientific method. Super happy to be here. And let me close it off. I think there's one thing with Respond, with all the startups, and with our approach with Planet A. I think the economy we create shapes the only planet we have. And I think we have really the responsibility to act accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Fridtjof. It's really inspiring to see that, and the point that you made, that it's a privilege that we have the ability to respond and the responsibility to actually do so. So thank you very much. We will go back to our responsible companies with the next 5 pitches. The next presentation we'll have virtual from just outside Lagos in Nigeria. So the next company is tackling a problem that we know is a problem in the most parts of the world, housing. When me and you were 5 years old, you would solve the lack of housing through using Lego bricks. And in a way, that's how the next company is also solving this. So please, go welcome to, can we see him? Yes. To Solu Oluvamawayova from Brickify.
Hi guys, my name is Salu. So sorry I could not join you over there. It's due to COVID restrictions. But I want to thank the Respond Accelerator team for this wonderful opportunity to be doing this and for the knowledge they have passed to myself and my team. I'm the founder of Brickify Limited. Many years ago I was homeless and could not afford an apartment to myself. Fortunately, I'm no longer homeless, but unfortunately there are still millions of people across the globe, especially in developing countries, who are homeless and who can't afford an apartment to themselves. This is a global menace. We all must join our hands to fight. And this is why I started and I'm passionate about Brickify Limited. Brickify addresses 2 problems. The first problem is that of plastic waste. Each year we generate 260 million tons of plastic waste that ends up in the ocean and ends up polluting almost all aspects of our personal lives. Second problem that we address at Brickify is that of homelessness. Nigeria, for example, is in need of 22 million houses. And this is made worse by rising poverty, ever increasing cost of construction, and also rising internal conflict and terrorism. And this is why Brickify is so positioned to address this issue. Brickify recycles plastic waste into water, fire, heat, and wind-resistant paving bricks used to construct roads and low-cost houses. The bricks interlock and do not need additional materials added to them when being used for construction. The bricks are 50 to 70% cheaper than conventional bricks. And this is so because they are made primarily from plastic waste that is found almost everywhere in Nigeria, and because we use a wonderful technology in making these bricks. This is an obvious game changer in the housing construction sector, especially in developing countries. Our bricks can be used to construct houses, all forms of housing, schools, hospitals, toilets, housing for refugees and internally displaced. And this is one thing that is lacking in countries like mine. How do we make our money? We make our money by selling our bricks to members of the public. We make our money by constructing houses on behalf of our clients, and we also make our money by managing plastic waste of corporate organizations. We are currently building our first 200 houses, and we are discussing with the government of Nigeria to use our bricks to build 100,000 kilometers of roads. And by 2021, our plan is to scale to 2 West African countries so that we can expand and impact more people. Right now, we partner with government organizations, with local and international non-profits, as well as corporate organizations, especially those whose CSR objective is focused on tackling plastic waste and homelessness. Right now, we're trying to raise $200,000 in order to buy additional machinery, in order to scale our project, and in order to stay on our goal. I do not want any young graduate or any poor family like I experienced what I experienced. We are an 11-man team made up of 4 co-founders, and we are ready to read from you. You can write us at recycle@brickify.xyz. We're sure you are also passionate about recycling and tackling homelessness. Thank you very much. Bye to you guys. Please have a nice evening.
So we have him live here. Salu, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you.
Wonderful. Hi. Hi to Nigeria. Yes, yes, totally do that. I think you have one big new fan for your product. Great, durable product you built. Can you tell us what is your challenge in scaling your company and the product?
Thank you very much. We have two challenges. The first one is raising funds, and that's where we are pitching, and we are grateful to the Respond Accelerator team and the BMW Foundation for this wonderful opportunity. The second problem is that of plastic waste. Ironically, plastic waste is everywhere, but it's difficult to collect, especially because we use an homogeneous mixture of plastic waste to produce our bricks. So in this case, we rely on the government to enable a policy or legislate such that we can collect homogeneous plastic at source.
Okay. Thank you, Salu. All the love to Nigeria. See you very soon. So, let's assume, I think we can assume, most people want to save the planet. And one tiny thing that most people do is using reusable bag when they go shopping. Sometimes they use reusable bag. So the next company we're going to see is working on making them doing this every time to actually have an impact. So please welcome Christoph Hanschk from Goodbag.
Hello, my name is Christoph from Goodbag, and we enable everyone to do good everywhere. We all know that climate change and plastic pollution are global challenges. Every year, our planet is getting warmer, while over 10 million tons of plastic end up in our oceans. Did you ever feel that your actions are just a tiny drop in the ocean because you can't see the impact that you want to create? We at Goodbag felt that way, so we thought about how can everybody become a change maker? Let me ask you a question. How often did you end up buying a reusable bag this year because you forgot your bag at home? And it ended up just as another reusable bag being forgotten at home with all the others. Now imagine if your bag was not just another reusable bag, but your daily tool to save the world. Let me introduce Goodbag to you. Goodbag is a smart, usable shopping bag that enables you to plant trees against climate change, clean plastic waste out of the ocean, or receive a discount every time you bring your own bag to the store. We integrated an NFC chip in the Goodbag logo to make it unforgettable. Together with the Goodbag app, Goodbag creates a gamified experience that makes it fun and rewarding to reuse your bag. You just go shopping with your bag. In the shop, you open up the Goodbag app and choose your reward, for example, planting a tree or collecting plastic waste out of the ocean, and activate the reward by holding your phone close to the Goodbag logo. Bam, you planted a tree. It's simple as that. On your profile, you see how many trees you planted, how much plastic you collected, and how often you reused your bag in real time. What's in for the brands? For brands, Goodbag is a brand new way to communicate with their customers. We offer them a customer experience as a service that enables them to interactively protect the environment together with their customers in order to reduce plastic, increase their sustainability ratings, and win new young customers. This already convinced large companies like Swiss retailer Detzner or Europe's biggest airport, London Heathrow, to become our clients. Today, we have over 1,000 partner stores in 7 countries. And last year, we generated over 500,000 euros in revenue, of which more than 50% are recurring revenues and revenues from software fees. How do we make money? Our business model is simple. We charge companies a recurring software fee and for every interaction and promotion in the Goodbag app. On top of that, we directly sell them our bags or just the NFC chip, which can be integrated in any kind of reusable bag. Future revenue streams will monetize our user base further through advertisement. Think about promoting sustainable products right when the customers are in the store, branding in the Goodbag app, and introducing new products to our user base, like, for example, a smart reusable coffee mug. Today, I have a very exciting announcement to make. Just now, we launched a new update of the Goodbag app, which we believe is a game changer for us and will be the key driver of our future success. We have now included over 10 million new stores, enabling our users to use the Goodbag with all major retailers worldwide. This means once you have a Goodbag, you can now do good with it everywhere. With Goodbag, we are building the #1 go-to platform for sustainably engaged customers. Think about Facebook, but instead of posting that perfect Insta shot, people are contributing with real actions, generating real change. If you're an investor, brand representative, or user, I would like to invite you to join us on our mission to enable everyone to do good everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fridtjof, to think outside the bag and nudge people into having a real impact. I have a question. So this bag, could it potentially be used in literally any retail setting?
Yes, it can be. So no matter where you are, with the new update of the Goodbag app, which is available today, you'll be able to use a Goodbag at Walmart's in the US. You'll be able to use it in Coles in Australia. You can go to Aldi in Germany or Carrefour in France and do good with your Goodbag, collecting plastic waste out of the ocean, supporting us to reduce ocean plastics. And also, this is an opportunity for brands to sponsor that and brand the interactions in the app and becoming a partner working with us on a better and more sustainable future.
Wow. Thank you very much. This is Goodbag. So we now go from planting trees with a bag to drinking water. We all know that drinkable water is going to be one of the very scarce resources in the future. So imagine if you transform non-drinkable water into actually drinkable water. That would be a huge impact, right? That is exactly what our next company is doing. Please welcome with me on stage Jacob Bossaert from BOSAQ.
You probably wonder why I chose this song. Well, it reminds me of my days as a boxer. I never lost a fight. So with that same mindset, I started BOSAQ, a company that provides drinking water for 2.2 billion people around the world. Now, my story starts, it does work. My story starts at the Antarctic Station Princess Elizabeth of the Belgian government, where I had the opportunity as an engineer to provide drinking water to the people and also to recycle water on the station. Now, there's a very particular thing at the station. Their energy is 100% renewable. And I was thinking, if I can do it, this on one of the most hostile environments in the world, I can do it anywhere. So I started to read a little bit about the challenges worldwide, and I found out that 0.23% of all the water on this planet is readily available for human consumption, but all the rest needs treatment. And that results in 1 out of 3 persons not having access to clean drinking water, which is a lot. Most people also think that this challenge is something that only affects the south, but it's not. Also in the region where I'm coming from, Flanders in Belgium, it's a water-stressed area, and we have about 40,000 homes not connected to the drinking water grid. In Germany, about 700,000 homes. So it's also something that we can tackle here. Now, how is normally drinking water provided? Well, it's working through a centralized system where you build a big plant and you provide drinking water in the surrounding communities. If you want to do that for a decentralized, rural area, it's a lot more difficult. Why? Piping systems are very expensive. You pay about 250,000 euros per kilometer, so you can't do that if the village is 200 kilometers away. Also, the water degrades the longer distance it travels through a piping system. So a decentralized approach would be the approach that we should do. So we build systems that can provide drinking water out of any kind of source. It can be rainwater, it can be river water, it can be lake water, it can be even seawater. You can see there a small setup of the system, the smallest we make, is about 350 liters per hour. This is about 5,000 liters per hour. We have several USPs on the technology, but the main one is that we don't use chemicals, which is quite unique in the sector. And also the system is 100% off-grid, so we don't need a grid system to power the system. Now, we had some major breakthroughs since we started in 2017. Me and my co-founder Peter we know each other from university. We signed the biggest, one of the biggest dance festivals worldwide, Tomorrowland. We signed Dawa Group, which is the biggest drinking water provider in Belgium. And we just recently signed a deal with the government of Suriname of 3.2 million euros. Now, this growth path is really aligned with the ambition we have as a company, because we want to become #1 worldwide in decentralized drinking water supply by 2035, having a turnover of about 1 billion. The business setup is quite simple. We work for governments, so it's a business-to-government setup, and we sell hardware to the governments, and we have recurrent revenue with maintenance contracts. They are connected to the hardware. Now, I know that a lot of investors are quite hesitant to work with governments, but for us, it really works well. There are 3 reasons why we do work with governments. Is because we work in a cash positive. We work cash positive on our projects. The financing of these projects is quite easy because we work with multilateral development banks, and we also the contract is also quite big. So it's good. It really works for us. Now, BOSAQ is based on some principles, sustainable solution with economic value creation, obviously, but water is a very social product. It creates a lot of impact everywhere you go. And we even want to maximize that by providing 10% of our profit to our own non-profit organization, Water Heroes. And Water Heroes provides technology for free for communities around the world. What are we looking for? We're looking for investors. We're not looking for traditional investors. We're looking for investors who can enable us to connect with governments worldwide, which is very important for us. And also, they have to support the vision we have at BOSAQ. It's very important that the vision and the mission we have stays alive on the long run. This is a team that I work with, and with this team, we have been fighting all over the world, beginning to parliaments and government halls. So I think for you now, you have an opportunity to join us in the ring and to beat the problem of drinking water. Thank you very much.
Wow, Jacob, this little baby here is really creating a massive impact for the health of humans. My question would be, can you tell me about the economic impacts of ensuring availability of drinkable water everywhere?
Yeah, so bringing drinking water to communities is not only bringing water, bringing health to people, but it also is an enabler of a lot of other social things. For example, there's a school in Suriname which you provide with drinking water that was closed during dry season because the teachers coming from the capital and they don't stay in dry season because they don't drink the water from the river. So you enable also education, but also women who have to fetch water hours a day suddenly have a lot more time to do other things. So that's so water is really an enabler of a lot of social impact things within communities.
Wow. Thank you very much. This is BOSAQ, please. Boss. So we're going to stay on the topic of human health and the impact that climate crisis has on that health. So it's really hard to measure the impact of that. So the next company that we're going to see uses AI models to really monitor and also prevent the impact of climate crisis to public health. Please give a big warm welcome to Maren Ray-Huet from Meersens.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so happy to be with you today. Just imagine we could improve by 20% your efficiency. Imagine we can gain years of living in good health. This is just by understanding your environment. At Meersens, we assess what is around you. Meersens improve health of people thanks to environmental and human process data. This is what we do at Meersens. Around you, you have many risks. The air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, so many issues around you. 13 million people are dying every year. 85% of chronic disease are mostly linked to your immediate environment. Billions of dollars it's costing for companies, cities. This is no longer possible. Stop. We have to change this. We cannot just rely on a reactive model of allopathic medical care system. We have to take care of a preventive approach thanks to artificial intelligence. How is it working? We make the invisible visible at Meersens. We have a SaaS that we deploy to our customers, and through their members, we actually deploy an application that at the end helps us to move people from understanding the environment to preventive actions regarding their health. We are collecting millions of data every day on a real time. 3 types of data. The first one is open data, which is processed. Second one is around IoTs that can be inside the street or inside the buildings. And the third one, which is very important as well, it's a subjective data about the feeling of people. And as soon as we started to better understand the subjective value of the environment of the people, then they were ready to change their behaviors to better assess the risk and avoid those particular risks associated with that. Our unique platform is based on artificial intelligence around 4 key steps. The first one, we assess the environment. We're actually analyzing around 130 pollutants on real time. The second one, we engage populations. So it can be the citizens, can be the employee of the company. The third one, we are personalizing the risk for this particular person of this particular customer. Last but not least, which is the most important part, we go on a prevention path, and we are proposing more than 600 paths for actually preventions and to avoid those risks related to the environment. Let me share the action with you. I'm very happy to share with you today that we just won a big collaboration with Vinci facilities across Europe. This is actually going to be deployed, our SaaS platform, across the infrastructure of Vinci facilities, and the apps is going to be deployed across the employees. On top of that, Vinci is actually going to push us to their own customers as a key solution for them to their support facilities. At Meersens, we have a team of 14 engineers which are very passionate about what they are doing, very talented and fully empowered around artificial intelligence and IT, marketing, and biotech. I co-founded Meersens in France with Louis, who is in charge of the innovation. He has 9 years of experience. He's one of the top companies at Atos around data and artificial intelligence. Myself, I'm Moran Rehuet. I'm the CEO and I'm in charge of finance, marketing, and sales. And I have a broad knowledge and competencies around P&Ls across the world. I've been working in India, China, US, and Japan for many years. We are looking for 3 million rounds right now around 3 things. One is to make fully automated our artificial intelligence platform. The second one is to grow and scale our business with European key accounts. And last but not least, to prepare for the US penetration market. We want to become the leader of improving health of people thanks to environmental, human, process data. Let's make the world better. Let's make the world healthier again. Let's respond. I count on you, and I'm here for you. Thank you very much.
Sweet. Moran, also a question for you. So you're using machine learning and AI to benefit public health. Can you tell us more about your business model? So how can the partners of yours benefit from this financially?
I mean, do you know, artificial intelligence sounds like too much a buzzword. I mean, is it real? I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this is a bit magic, I agree with you. But at the end, we are making this link between environment and health. And at the end of the day, we are following just the business model of a SaaS process. So we are on annual recurrent revenue, as mostly any SaaS around the world. On the top of that, we are setting up very strong KPIs. Typically at Vinci, we are going to push 4 key KPIs. One is like the number of sick leaves, which are going to be drastically reduced, the number of costs of medical care, and last but not least, to the well-being of all the employees inside the company. We know that whenever you are investing €1 in our solutions, you will be saving for the next 3 years around €13 for each thing that you're actually doing as a prevention plan. So this is what we do at Meersens, saving lives. Thank you.
Wow. This is Meersens. I'm optimistic right now. Thank you, Meersens. It's really easy to get very optimistic to listen to these companies, so it's very inspiring. Which brings me to our very last company that we're going to see pitch for today. So we all can agree there are plenty of great environmental initiatives around the world, but sadly, there's also plenty of companies who still have a negative impact on the environment. The next companies helping those ones to monitor, analyze, and reduce their impact on the environment. Please give your warm hand to Lubomila Jodanova from Plan A.
A few years ago, I decided to fundamentally change my life because of a beach like this one. I saw the causes and effects of climate change all in 1 week at the same place. It made me really sad, anxious, quite disappointed, but most importantly, it made me realize that I was totally disengaged. Disengaged with the biggest crisis that humanity was facing, climate change. I decided that I needed to become part of the solution. I became vegetarian, started to cycle to work, recycling, and introduced a lot of different sustainability tactics in my life. And it took time. It was quite challenging to be able to do this, to only realize that my impact was that big. Well, as much as it was overwhelming for me as an individual to be able to do this, imagine what this means if you're a business. If you are a business, you need to know your carbon footprint, not only for your facilities, but also from your suppliers. You need to know how to reduce your carbon footprint and do it tangibly and soon, because the regulators are calling. You need to report on your carbon footprint and do it according to all the standards internationally. You need to engage your stakeholders, because consumers, investors, employees are asking for commitment. And all this needs to be meaningful. Why? Well, because offsetting is not enough anymore, and a CSR campaign is not going to cut it. Is this voluntary? Is this an option? No, it isn't. We felt how overwhelming this is, and actually decided that we needed to package this up in one single solution. And the answer was lying in science. We put together a team of over 20 machine learning experts, data scientists, climate data modeling experts, life cycle analysts, to be able to provide a company with one single stop to be able to address their sustainability agenda. This is Plan A. Plan A helps your company calculate your footprint in an automated manner by connecting to all your resources. It monitors your data, and it engages you on how you can reduce it based on where you're not performing well. It engages your stakeholders, your customers, your employees. And finally, it's built in alignment to all the international standards that you and your company cares about. We've packaged in one single solution an automated end-to-end platform that enables a company to not only reduce its CO2 emissions, but also focuses on reducing costs, which, of course, all businesses care about. So far, we've been able to serve more than 200 businesses from all over Europe. Companies like BMW Foundation, BCG Digital Ventures, Werder Bremen, and many others that are particularly concerned about their sustainability and their impact on the planet. But the planet is not their only concern, and they have found out actually what is at risk for them. If you are not necessarily convinced that sustainability should be on the top of your agenda, think about the fact that you are potentially going to lose public credibility, access to funds, capacity to be compliant, and also, most importantly, license to operate. My impact was this. And this was my, as an individual, capacity to be able to change something. But together with the impact of all the companies we've worked with, that has been amplified significantly. Today, I invite you all to consider to join our community of impactful businesses and make sustainability on top of your agenda. Why? Because there's no plan B for our planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Lubomila. So you're helping companies to understand, monitor, and reduce their impact. Can you tell us why you think it becomes more and more important for all companies to do so?
Well, there's three particular reasons. One is, of course, climate change, the elephant in the room. If you understand the data, you know that you need to do something. Second of all, which I think is more the short-term version of this, is regulatory framework. The Green Deal with Europe has made already some commitments and frameworks on how companies would need to limit their emissions and be really clear on tangibly understanding where these emissions come from. And finally, is this idea of license to operate. I think all of us here in the room want to be able to exist in the next 5 to 10 years. Without sustainability on top of your agenda, this is not possible.
I understand. Thank you so much, Lubomila. We have one planet. This is Plan A. Thank you. That was already the 10 pitches. That was it. Thank you to all the teams who put in so much love and work to present their companies to you today. So this was cohort number 1 of Respond. If you think, this company, I need to talk to them, I can maybe partner with them, I maybe want to invest in them, please do so. On the Respond Accelerator website, you find slots for the companies to book on Friday morning to speak with them in person, because we know the in-person contact is quite important. Now you see there's chairs happening behind me for a reason. Because we're not quite done with the event, I want to look at the bigger picture with you for the global development of impact tech. So I want to introduce you to 2 gentlemen. We have Amit Pradhan, he's the founder and president of the Silicon Valley Blockchain Society, as well as James Arbib, the co-founder of RethinkX. We have the chairs ready. Slowly come with me on stage. Have a seat, James. Here's over here. So, thank you for joining us. Very quick 10 minutes panel. Amit, you have a long-standing experience with the Silicon Valley blockchain. And can you tell us more about the role of responsible AI, because we heard AI so much, and what is the challenge in scaling up technology?
Thank you. I have to say, this has been so impressive. Incredible cohort. Doesn't look like immature founders at all. Very impressive. And Silicon Valley has often been connected with maturity in the space. And there's a lot of maturity when it comes to the capital flows. But one of the areas where Silicon Valley tends to have blind spots is when it comes to using exponential technology to achieve scale, because that's kind of the main focus, right? It's about achieving scale. And that's where you start dealing with a lot of the unintended consequences of how you use technology. And AI, like you mentioned in your question, is a great example of that. We're constantly trying to create the next big data company, right? And even if the intentions are honorable, right, you end up with a Facebook followed by a Cambridge Analytica, right? And in the world of thinking about responsible AI, there's a huge opportunity to move towards a decentralized model of AI. So you still want to get all of the benefits, the predictability. You saw with 3 of the startups today how they're using AI to be more predictable. And they're all really wonderful people and wonderful founders. And it starts that way. You become a really powerful data source at one point. And that's when things start going south. And so what we've been really focused on and working on is, how do you untap and unlock the power of the blockchain, not purely because you can buy into Bitcoin at, if you were lucky, you bought in at, under 100 and then, you've made a lot of money. But how do you unlock the unique economics that come from being able to combine the power of decentralizing the data model when it comes to AI, and then on top of that, unlocking economics that you couldn't have done otherwise. So with a lot of the startups we saw today, and I'm happy to chat more with them afterwards, they're encouraging a lot of good behavior, right, in their general approach to what the product does. How do you take that good behavior and use it in an economic way to benefit the average user, right? And you can do that with tokenization, but you can't do that if you don't already start to decentralize the data model from which you can unlock these benefits.
So I see that the future lies in decentralization. From your perspective, sure, the innovation the last decades came from Silicon Valley. From your perspective, what is the potentials you see in Europe when it comes to tech, when it comes to competitiveness, but also impact and sustainability?
It's a huge opportunity here. So I think that this is a far more responsible culture already, right? GDPR didn't start out in California. You would expect that, that's where it would have begun. So it's a huge opportunity to not just try and be another Silicon Valley, right? Or not just try and emulate what's happening in China. This is an opportunity to lead incredible technology and technology founders in educational institutions, to name a tomb right here. And if you can combine that with the right approach to how you build technology, not just for what results we'll see in the next couple of years, but what this looks like over the next decade, then Europe has a huge opportunity to lead. And I feel, finally, at the end of the day, what COVID has taught us is that you can't just rely on one supply chain. You can't just rely on one Silicon Valley. Someone will have to lead and take a moral imperative. It's a huge opportunity for Europe.
Okay, so here, Europe, it's time for them to lead. And I think we have plenty of people listening can take that action. Thank you, Amit. James, we have you with us. I have also 2 questions for you. So in 2017, you're the founder of Rethink X, so you do rethinking. You had this incredible report on rethinking transportation from 2020 to 2030, and then last year, the Rethinking Humanity. Can you tell us more about this concept and insights that you saw?
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, generally as society, whether we're governments or we're investors or we're businesses, we're pretty terrible at forecasting disruptions. What we tend to do when we want to look forwards is we look back and we draw a straight line to today and then we kind of extrapolate it into the future. What we're trying to do at Rethink X is look at the processes that drive change. When we look at any complex system, whether it's the environment, the climate system, an ecosystem, or the human body, or a sector of the economy, of course, what you see are these long periods of incremental change, followed by these periods of very rapid change. And so if we look at the transportation sector as an example, we see a system, a transport system that's basically been stable for over 100 years. The private ownership of gasoline vehicles, the oil industry, the infrastructure, the business models, and so on and so forth. And there's huge resistance to change. Right? Consumers are kind of used to driving cars. We've got all the regulation built up around it. We've got massive economies of scale, the supply chains, and so on and so forth. But what we're seeing is electric vehicles beginning to come down in cost and improving capabilities. And as they do that, they open up a bigger and bigger market. So they've taken out the kind of the top of the market already, at least begun to disrupt that. And as they come down in cost, they'll disrupt more of the market. And as more people buy electric vehicles, you're going to get better economies of scale, the costs come down, more investment floods in, and you get this virtuous cycle that drives this very rapid process of change. And for the old industry, what happens is you get the opposite. You get a death spiral of reversing economies of scale, less investment, and so on and so forth. And the industry can collapse very, very quickly. And so that's the sort of starting point, is looking at the, at the sort of what we call the feedbacks, the accelerating feedbacks of change. But actually, when change happens, it cascades out across all kinds of things. And that's just the first step in the transport disruption. What happens next is we get autonomy, and that changes everything. So it's not just a one-for-one substitution, as we see, an electric vehicle for a gasoline car. What we're going to see is a whole new business model. We're not going to own vehicles anymore. So we see car companies today rushing to get their electric vehicles into the market because they think that's where the disruption is. But by the time they get them there and by the time they reach scale, we won't own cars. We'll just access them. It'll be 10 times cheaper, or perhaps even free, to access transport as a service, robo-taxis. And that will have cascading consequences across society in terms of job losses, in terms of value creation, in terms of environmental impact, and so on and so forth. And that's not all, because we get disruptions in other sectors. So we can't just think of transport in isolation. We have to think about the information sector
For instance, communications disrupting the need for transport. You know, we use cars to go to school, to go shopping, for entertainment, and so on and so forth. But those uses of vehicles might be disrupted too. So you have to see the whole thing as a greater whole to really understand the processes of disruption.
Good. I thought a very large but simple question maybe onto this. Everybody who's watching and who came here woke up already to the responding to the crisis we have. And so since climate crisis, that big demands so much changes, I was wondering, what do you think is the transformation needed to be a success during that process? And how can we stop reacting and become the actors to be actually part of the solution?
Yeah, so first of all, we have to open our eyes, I think, to what's possible. And I think, you know, when we look at what's happening in the transportation sector, what's happening in energy, what's happening in the food space, you know, three of the most polluting sectors of the economy, we see massive transformation about to happen. And we see technologies that are cheaper and better than the old industrial versions coming down in cost rapidly and growing to scale over the next 10 to 20 years. And so these will be disruptions driven by the economics. So we have to be very aware that we have the solutions available, that we have the technological solutions. And we have to be careful, because when we don't see that, we end up thinking that behavior change, you know, veganism, giving up consumption, and so on, are the solutions to climate change. Now, certainly they can contribute to slowing down the process. But there's no way we can reduce CO2 emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, to zero through behavior change. The social costs, the human suffering involved in doing that will just be catastrophic. And also will destroy the capital that's needed to build out the new transportation, the new food, the new energy system. So technology ultimately is the only solution we have. And we have to recognize that, and we have to get behind it.
Thank you. So we need societal change, and I hope that we have the drivers of this amongst us. Thank you, James Arbib. Thank you, Amit Pradhan. Thank you for being here. Give a big warm goodbye applause to all two speakers. Thank you. It's a joy to have you here. Whoa, 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 wait. Let me help you. Look, it's all live.
That mic saved.
Thank you. They all come a long way to be with us tonight here, so thank you so much for coming. And thank you all for watching, because that was already it. That was the first demo night of Respond. Thank you all entrepreneurs who put in this so much work for their pitches. Thank you the keynote speakers, and also the panelists, and you on the live stream. Respond will go on, so please follow us, visit our website, book the slots with the startups if you want to talk to them, and follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, on Twitter and on Facebook. And that's it. So see you very soon. Have a safe and warm and beautiful evening. Thank you so much.